Doesn't look like he's going to do a thing about it. And par for the course when it comes to the Bannerlord AI. They basically act like they're blind as a bat. I mean, he's literally just sitting there. This huge force is just rampaging. Now they're going to a castle to defend. And this is a Ragenbad right here. Interesting. We got some carnage going on. We've got a Battanian force there that might engage too. Let's see. Yeah, we'll dump that other part. Let's start a new episode right here. All right, friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. Welcome back to Bannerlord 1.4. Don't believe me? Check this out, right? We've got new party roles. You can come in here and say your character doesn't have a lot of mariner skills. You can assign somebody who does, right? And they can be in charge of the ship instead of you. That is something that's new as well. You can delegate command of your ship and just choose to be a soldier, and somebody else will slam your ship into other ships and stuff like that. So 1.4, and we continue to explore here with this Battanian / Sturgian / Hagar the Horrible, straight from the comic strip of my childhood. We're going to have some fun in this campaign. We are in the mercenary stage, and so we're playing for Battania. To me, it really doesn't matter in the mercenary stage. You can basically play for whoever you want. And I have a navigator here, right? So we're going to assign that party role. Incidentally, you can do this now. You can assign a companion 2 different roles. There used to be 1. That's a new change as well. So it takes a little pressure off of that. But we've got the food. And so I think we're actually going to keep the steward role for our main character. We can have the other guy do. Actually, I got to change it back, right? We gotta remove him. There we go. Now Hagar the Horrible is giving his troops drinks and stuff like that. And I started this episode because of this. Right as I was narrating, we see a force led by Ragenbad here, right? The Grand Prince is sacking our caravan like scum. So we're going to engage him here. And it looks like we got help here. This Battanian force, though, you guys are early, man. What are you doing? This guy here, we're going to try to rescue him now. There's a large Sturgian force. Man, he already got captured. There's a large Sturgian force heading down here to Uthalheim Castle to siege. So we got some problems in this episode. But we like problems, right? Problems equal money when you're a mercenary. And we have a great army, right? Not just that, of course. Dragging behind us. You can probably hear it clanking on the ground. That is our big bag of tactics here. This is our specialty on the channel, is winning difficult battles here. So Ragenbad just immolated his force. He's got, even better, he's got a lot of infantry. Now we're going to have to deal with cavalry, high-end cavalry, but I think we've got the medicine for what ails us here. Our character's pretty weak, but we've got a few banners now. We've got some specialized captains. We got dipshits who, this guy doesn't have a weapon, but he's got a lot of javelins, right? This is a future wildling captain. And I think we're going to be able to handle business here. Of course, we'll walk you through the tactical side of this, because obviously if we auto-resolve here, we get pulverized. Now, unfortunately, with 1.4, the RTS mod is still not available. So we are sort of suffering through what I would consider somewhat slower battles. And we have enough archers now to make 3 divisions, right? What we're going to do here is make a hybrid division of skirmishers and archers. Those guys can be higher end archers as well. So 5th, 6th, and now when you zoom into this 6th division, there should be some skirmishers in there. Dudes with javelins sticking out. There is a couple. See if we can't put a few more in there. All right, well, it's going to have to work. We've got a little tiny 1st division. Honestly, I'm fine just getting rid of it altogether. We can just put them towards the back. And then we've got two other wings of archers here. So we're going to just spread these guys out, wait for the enemy to come immolate themselves, and move on, hopefully, to a siege defense. It does look like after this, we'll have a shot at a siege defense at Uthalheim Castle. We'll have to see what happens. All right, a little bit of patience here. And there are a few things that we can do here to increase our odds of success, right? We know the enemy's going to have Jav-Cav. It's Sturgia. So some of their cavalry will have javelins, and it's one of Sturgia's best units, which is not saying a lot, right? They don't really have good units, but Jav-Cav is at least dangerous, especially for your archers. So I'll give you a little basic tip of what I do in a situation like this. Now, unfortunately, this is the fastest speed our horse goes, right? We're a low-level character, so we've got to do this sort of carefully. We got a nice big Sturgian shield. I like just to come up here and draw some fire, right? These guys are going to chuck javelins at us. You don't want to catch too many in the teeth. But every javelin I figured that they throw in the snow is not hitting our troops, right? They're flinging them all over the place. The AI is notorious for just sort of flinging their shit out here. And they're pretty accurate, but if you got a shield up and you bob and weave, you're still likely to do pretty well. Now, they must have thrown 40 or 50 javelins at me there. Those are javelins that are not going to hit our troops, right? And that is a big advantage in a battle like this. And I look like a porcupine, but it's mostly superficial, right? Because I only took a couple of little glancing blows there. So it seems like a small thing, but I think in a battle like this, it's actually kind of bigger than it looks like. Instead of your troops, you know, getting drilled by a huge wave of javelins, of course, instead, they're all on my horse. And, well, it's the medieval era, right? Horses are servants. All right, so let's move infantry back and we start to kite. When kiting is just the pre-movement of archers, and we're going to get archers behind this pathetic Sturgian force. This side over here, it looks like their cavalry is really hot to trot. And of course, we weren't over here helping these guys, getting some of those javelins away from these guys, so I kind of feel compelled to help over here first. We're watching the infantry in the center. The AI is notorious about not spreading out their troops, and so they're hyper vulnerable to this tactic here. This is the foundational approach of a kill box. Now their archers up there kind of menacing us a little bit, but the biggest key here is keeping our archers pre-kited. This is too close. This is a mistake, frankly. The only reason we got out of there is that my character and a few of these divisions have speed bonuses. So a kill box does take practice, but once you get the distancing down, the distance between your archers and the enemy, then you're going to be just ripping it, right? And the ideal distance is about 30 or 40 meters. That's far enough so that they're still hitting the enemy but not being drilled by throwing weapons. Right now, there are archers here I'm actually just going to ignore. Those are pathetic little Santa hat Sturgian archers. They're not very good archers already, and to make it worse, they don't have a lot of high-level archers, right? So Ragenvad here came to a gunfight with a knife, right? He's got spears and whatnot, lots of shields, and they're not really going to help him a whole lot at all. All their guys look like piñatas. It's a matter of time before that guy goes down. Once he goes down, we're going to have this infantry division all to ourselves. Now, the Britannians have some of the most ammo of any archers in the game, right? And so that means, of course, they're firing until the enemy's dead. They're just going to continue to shoot here. A kill box is much, much harder to do with Vlandia, for example, right? A kingdom that has a lack of ammo. It's a problem, right? But here we have virtually unlimited ammo, and so virtually unlimited ability to deal death. Now, I still have enough health to kind of fly in here and menace the enemy occasionally, but you got to avoid taking like a stiff spear to the face. Just kind of fly in, do a little damage, and listen to the sound of our enemy being pulverized. They can't move, they can't get to anybody, and the only thing that's left for them to do here is to die in the snow. Now, this is a simple kill box. This is 3 divisions, no collapsing cavalry, no skirmishers also in on a wing, no square in the middle. Very, very simple tactics. Trying to lay down Ragenvad right where he stands. He looks like an absolute piñata. That's epic. I don't think I've ever seen a guy with that many arrows in him and not dead. He's porcupine Ragenvad. Now, I got to be careful here. But if you can kill Ragenvad here, of course, their morale's going to go down even more. And they're going to rout. Now, at this stage, the other thing I like to do is I like to start charging with units. Most of our units have ammo still, but the ones that don't can now get their beat down in this battle. And there's an advantage of it. What's going to happen here as the Sturgians get immolated is we're going to get lots of kills by all the little guys who didn't get any part of the action until now. Our skirmishers come up to join me on the infantry line here, and our enemy's badly wounded. Like, these infantrymen are not going to last long. Every archer gets a lick in here, and upgrades, right? We're getting tons of upgrades from a battle like this. It looks like their archers are also getting the beat down over here. Our horse gets shot, and everybody cheers. Rag and Bad is somewhere in all these bodies on the ground, and we pile up the upgrades in this battle. 51 upgrades and 12 deaths. And that, even though that's kind of a lengthy battle for a lot of people, it's a battle you can't win without tactics, and it's a battle with tactics where you don't just get stronger. Our army becomes a juggernaut in just a few battles. You go in here and look at the upgrades. 18 heroes go to Fiends, and 12 Fiends become Fiend champions. Very quickly, our army is going to turn into a beast, right? Come with us. Now, we could have let him go. We're eventually going to join Sturgia, and this is that noble that suicided on Ragenvad, so we'll tell her she owes us. You owe us. We're going to be a dipshit here, and look at this. This is absurd. We're already way over the troop limit, and I think we're close enough to Dunglanis just to take all these troops, right? There's some nice troops here. We're going to order from top tier down. That way we don't have deserters from our worst troops, and we're going to have mega deserters here. Why? Because we're almost twice the party troop limit. We're only clan tier 2, or are we 2 or 1? I think we're 2. And we also get just a massive heap of prisoners that I think we're going to run to Dunglanis, because we're going to be able to make a huge amount of money from all this. And here's the upgrades, right? Look at all these delicious future mass murdering Fiend champs and whatnot. And it just rains good stuff on us here. In fact, we get the best banner, I think, in the game. Decreased taken ranged attack damage. Why is it the best? Well, okay, let me say it's one of the absolute best. That is because you're going to get shot a lot in Bannerlord, especially on a horse. We get a beautiful throwing axe here. I guess we can put it on him, right? We're going to do some throwing axes in this campaign. We get an armor upgrade. It looks stupid, but that's okay, right? Survival over looks. We're gonna form over function for sure, or function over form rather, for sure in this campaign. And we get a bunch of Ragenvad's smelly equipment. I better not talk too much trash, because we're gonna join the Sturgians in this campaign probably pretty soon based on our rate of success. Now you want to order your troops. You see this? This is a problem. I accidentally clicked that or moved them down. We're going to get deserters. I talked about it before. It's in a ratio of the amount of troops you have. So we're not going to get 6 deserters here. We're going to get like 20 or 25. I think we can still make that siege defense down there. There's a large Sturgian force sieging, and that's a juicy opportunity for the rich to get richer in this campaign. Right now, 176 plus injured. We're probably going to get at least 1 deserter check. Let's do one last look at our army here. So 17. We have 27 of these 2 troops I don't give a shit about, right? These guys are going to desert. It's fine, right? We should get it. I thought we would get it before we reach the city. I guess not, which means we're going to get even more troops, right? And the reason you do this, of course, let's see. We get so much money. I mean, we have 18,000. I mean, it's just crazy. Let's see. How do we do this? First, let's recruit troops. Let's make our army even bigger, right? We're going to have an army of 9,000 with a limit of 100. Let's sell some of our equipment here too, right? You don't want to get caught in a siege and lose all your goods that you just worked hard to acquire. Let's just... I wonder if we can empty the city here. We get so much loot from these battles, right? Because you're winning battles you're not really supposed to. And look at that shit. We take all of the money from the whole city, basically from Ragenvad's equipment. They're like, you're the guy who killed Ragenvad? Yeah. We'd like some gold. All right, now let's treat our men. Right? Any good commander knows, right? If you lads were in my army, we're eating a balanced diet, right? Not only are we digging it, and lots of beer, right? We're going to have a 7-course dinner every night. Lots of beer. And we... Yeah, I can't buy it yet. Let's see if they have any masterwork or really nice arrows. Probably not. Sometimes there's like legendary, like this is worth picking up. We got a crossbow guy. Where's our crossbow guy? The fuck is he? This guy? Yeah, this guy. So here's the standard bolts, and look at this, right? Not only are there more of them, but it's more damage, right? The only thing that's different is weapon tier. You don't give a shit about that, right? So it's hidden in the equipment here at Senon, and it's a significant upgrade for your guy, and it's cheap. I didn't see how much it was, but we're still getting... We emptied the store, right? And so we just got rich. Now let's go to the keep and We're going to donate some prisoners here. And this is going to get crazy, right? We're going to get a huge amount of influence for this. Let's do it by count. Now, we had a huge amount of deserters. I want to say originally I think we had like 300 prisoners from that battle. So I'm just going to dump like 120 prisoners here. A lot of times I skip this or I don't do it at all. Guys are like, hey, you had a battle there. You didn't sell any prisoners. And that is because, honestly, fellas, we're going to make more money in every campaign we play than we need. And so a lot of times I'm just not worried about it. I don't want to waste your time. Right here, we're showing you because we get 82 influence times 200 gold. This is 16 grand in influence just from putting prisoners in here. We could also do this. We can go, we can donate troops to the garrison because obviously we can't take 216 into the next battle. Now, I'm not going to put a lot in here because we're going to use these to defend that city that's down the road. In fact, it's not really benefiting us much. And so let's try just carrying this giant army and see what this looks like. Now, we're going to trudge. Look at in the middle there, men within party size, minus 1.6. We're going to trudge our way down to this siege defense. But they haven't even built a siege camp, right? We've got our satellite link up, medieval satellite link. Still not thrilled about that feature. I think we can make it to this castle even trudging there. And there go the deserters, right? So we just lost a bunch of... Oh, mother effer. I had our units ordered by count because I was selling the prisoners. So don't do what I just did. I don't know exactly who we lost. Let's see. Fiends. Maybe we lost... It's hard to tell exactly. It looks like we didn't actually lose any of our critical troops because it was organized by count. We lost, we probably did lose some good troops. We lost 2 of this high-end tier 5 unit or something like that, but at least the core of our army is here, right? We still have our high-end archers, and that's ultimately all that matters. But that was a snafu. You want to make sure you organize tier to the bottom, and then say you want your archers and you don't care about those infantrymen, just put them there. Like these armed traders can never upgrade. Why would we have them over some of these other units, right? The sister, they don't even wear a helmet into battle, right? We can have them desert. We're going to have more deserters here, but at least now it'll come. Let's put the volunteers at the bottom because then it's going to be easy to track, right? If I just work with me here, game. There we go. All right, our next deserter check. We've got 32 volunteers at the bottom of our army. We should be able to pick up a few more troops on the way down there. We're going to have at least one more deserter check because we're trudging through the woods here. Right now it's nighttime. Our army's moving 1.0. So we're going to get a deserter check soon. Again, what were there? 32 volunteers, right? And again, just this is last time. I swear I'll try to prove it to you fellas. It's been definitively shown, though. It comes from the bottom of your list, so make sure you order top down. Anybody who's decent at math can see that we lost only our volunteers there. Now, they still have to build a ram and a siege tower for this siege to start. That means we've got time to hit at least a village, maybe a couple. And why are we hitting villages? Because we want the archers that will pick up there, and we have other deserters that are going to go away first, right? We have 10 volunteers and 10 of those shitty-ass infantry that I've already talked before. Terrible Battanian infantry. I'm sure we just lost exactly those terrible troops, and now we pick up a bunch of troops that we actually want for this siege. Now, they should be beginning the siege soon, so I'm just going to head over there. In fact, you can see the number going down. That means the siege has started. We've got 180 defenders in there. We should be able to make it right about morning time here. Coming in like the Rohirrim to save the day because this castle's doomed without our help, right? And the good thing is I think we'll avoid another deserter check. Now, again, the main reason you're doing this, friends, and I talk about it probably too much, 157 troops in our army. Normally, you'd have 100, right? And most guys are running around with exactly 100. I don't want to have deserters. Well, by having 158 troops here, when we sneak into this castle, you lose about 20% of your forces, right? You say break in to help. You lose, it says we lose 29 troops. We're still going to have, 120 something troops, right? 129 troops, right? So you break in with 100, you lose 29 or 25 or whatever. You got 75. We're going to have like 120. And so not only, of course, are we showing you the tactical side of the game, but the little tips and tips and tricks also that'll really help you in Bannerlord. Now, I think we're fine here for banners. Sometimes I'll get a little bit tricky. I don't think we need to do that, right? We can just fly in here. We've got at least a catapult, looks like 2 catapults, and we have 2 fire catapults, right? This siege is not just over, it's way over. I guess it's a good time for you to grab a tasty beverage if you don't want to watch an easy siege defense. Now we better deliver here since we're just telling you it's a done deal. The main reason is that the AI still routes very readily when their shit gets blown up by fire catapults, and that's almost for sure going to happen here. Now where's our archers? Let's push those guys down at the beginning. I'm not too worried about our infantry. In fact, I'm just going to put our infantry here at the base. And I didn't see where that was from, but they're already drilling people with fire catapults. We're probably going to create a bit of a bottleneck by bringing our archers down. In fact, it's already happening there. In fact, we're going to jam up these sides. These stairways can be a hazard. You try to bring your archers off the walls so they don't get shot to pieces, and then the AI tries to go up the walls, and the next thing you know, you got a gigantic fucking clusterfuck. So just be aware of that mechanic. Sometimes it's not the worst idea to spend. They already destroyed a siege weapon. So we've got some gurus here on the siege equipment. And in some ways, you don't want them to, right? And I'm going to get to this fire catapult quickly. Stop, lads. Quit killing everybody or you're going to make the enemy rout. I know that seems crazy, but you can end the siege before you even get anything out of this siege, right? We'll get some plunder and whatnot, but you honestly don't want them to destroy the ram, not until it gets closer or even reaches the doors, and that's because we're gaining all kinds of EXP and levels, right? Case in point, by killing the troops, right? Now the ram is full, so I can actually take a few shots at those troops coming up with the ram, calibrate here, and launch some flames into their skin. Now we missed, but it doesn't really matter. In all reality, and I didn't talk about it, I didn't show you our throwing skill before this episode started, or before this episode and before this siege battle here, so we miss every shot. We had like 40 or 60 throwing skill or something really low like that, and our athleticism was really bad. Well, both of those, oh, son of a man. And it's all going to have to wait because these assholes here were too effective. And the siege is already over, right? And this is, I think it's not good, right? Basically, the enemy doesn't even try to siege. They should at least try here. They had 400 troops. They were going to get melted. Let's be real. But it is an unfortunate part of the game still that the AI runs when in a siege like this. They should be reforming too, right? They should be like, there should be an army of 500 here that backs off. And then says, oh, let's assess our next option here. Instead, they just fled, and all of them are captured. Who captured them, right? Do we have a bunch of patrols out there gathering them up? And these are beautiful javelins. Man, there's some beautiful equipment here. Anyways, not thrilled about the game mechanic here. This is something that's a good example of something that I have directly spoken with Tailworlds. Who knows if they'll listen, but it's something I've given them advice, basically saying, you guys should fix this. It's not a good system. Basically, it's too easy to make the enemy rout in sieges, and I think it could be adjusted. Whether or not they actually listen to me is who knows, right? But there you have it. We just got rich beyond belief, right? You can see some of the equipment that we just acquired in that one siege. We didn't even do anything, right? All we did is sneak in, basically, and we just got filthy rich. Now we can go to the dungeon and donate a bunch of the prisoners here. Now we got 270 prisoners to donate. We're going to get unbelievable amounts of influence for this. Just remind me to order our kingdom by quality so we don't lose deserters of high quality here. And it's on to the next battle. Now, this to me is the absolute fastest way to power level through a Bannerlord campaign. I'm sure there are guys that are doing things that are similar that help them power through a campaign, but I don't think we have 3 hours in this campaign at this stage, and we're damn shit, I'm wasting your time. We're going to be clan tier 3 very, very soon, and from there it's just off to the races. Right now, actually, we want to do this by quality, because you get paid more for higher end troops, right? So you want to actually go in here. Now I'm really wasting your time. You want to go in here, get rid of the nobles, of course, first. And then you want to sell where you have large batches of the high end troops because you get the most influence for higher level troops. And this is just an insane amount of money, right? Just like the other instance, we're going to get loaded up. 113, 8 more. 91 influence, right? Now we're going to hemorrhage all kinds of prisoners in the short term. Not too worried about it because we're just going to hit a few villages here. And just like that, we're off to the races as far as money. And never mind the loot, right? We've got heaps of loot. We've got all kinds of good troops. And you're like, oh, you didn't do it by tier. All right, well, I think we caught it. Get rid of these armed traders and sisterhoods. All right, now let's find some more shit to kill. Now, what do we got going on here? Caladog is sieging Abcomer. Who are we at war with? It looks like we're at war with 3 kingdoms. Wow. So this is actually good. In the mercenary stage, that's what you want, right? You're looking for a kingdom that's at war with a lot of people, more targets, more money. We'll navigate the battles. What we want to make sure is we're not, at war with some kingdom that we can't really participate on some level. All right, pick these guys up here. And let's see. I don't mind fighting the Sturgians, but I bet there's going to be some carnage down here, right? We have Lageta. Wow. Let's head that direction. Targets of opportunity, and you see the mercenary contract. They pay you in little installments, like they're on a credit plan or some shit. So every day it goes down as your influence goes down, right? They're buying your influence from you. That's effectively how that's working. But we have so much, like it's just not even a factor. Like it's just money pouring in. And we're starting to buy whatever we want, right? At this stage, like there's not much that we can't buy. In fact, to hell with it, right? Let's just make our army mega powerful. I saw this when we were there before. It's half of our money. I don't care. And it's going to be wrecking shop with somebody. Now, we got to find the right person to put it on. I think... let's see here. Actually, I don't know who. We don't really have an archer. I think this guy. No. I think we have an archer who's on a quest. Anyways, we got a beautiful bow. We got a bunch of nice food. We got all kinds of influence and good stuff. We want more, right? Bannerlord, just like life. Always more. Bunch of capitalists. Now, ships, right? We're going to have a ship. How soon? Probably next episode, right? I think you want to have 100 grand by the time that you start purchasing ships. There's an acronym for boats and ships and stuff like that. One of the famous ones is break out another 1,000, right? BOAT. I know people in real life who have boats, and they'll tell you that. Shit's expensive to maintain. You got to paint it. You got to dock it somewhere. You got to store it. You got to take care of it. Especially like us in the northwest of Washington State and the US of A. Very rough winters. The oceans are, very, very hard on boats. And so it's kind of a constant factor. When you have a ship, you're hemorrhaging funds, right? So we're going to want to make sure we have some nice income. Maybe we'll get a workshop at some point or other. We're doing quests. And I think we probably want to have a couple 100,000, maybe 300,000 before we become a vassal for the Sturgians. There's no real set number. My old rule of thumb is basically the more qualified, the more experienced you are with battlefield tactics, the earlier you can become both a vassal, but more importantly, become independent. Now, Caladog's got this little tiny army running around with an army of 200. I don't know. Not thrilled about that at all. They need to be... Caladog doesn't watch the channel. He's not running over his maximum, and so as soon as he has a battle, right, he's like bereft of troops. He needs to subscribe. All right. Well, I'm going this way simply because we just took a Vlandian castle. It's a good castle for defense, too. If the Vlandians are dumb enough to siege that, we'll happily get inside there. Looks like we're getting quests back, and that might have been the archer. I'm trying to remember. We got a couple of specialists, and they're basically, they're going to be captains. Is it this guy? Yeah, okay. So this is a strange character for a lot of people. This is an archer warrior. If you go in and look at his stats, he's got two-handed skill. So we gave him them all Talked about it already. They have the knockdown ability now. All two-handed maces. I haven't seen any maces in stores, but you know where we'll get them is fighting Sturgia when they have line breakers. They don't really have a lot of mature troops yet because this campaign just started. But when they have line breakers, we're going to start seeing lordly and masterwork and legendary maces fall, and we're going to collect them. We want those for our campaign. In any case, this guy's a two-handed warrior with bows, and I think it's a good character spec because he does a lot of damage at range with the archers, and then when it comes to combat, he's going to do fine. He's got himself a maul, he's got some good equipment, and he can, in the short term, he can lead the Fiend champion, so increased troop movement speed. He's basically a strange-looking Fiend champion. Alright, let's see. Do we already do this shit? And what I want is an army of 200 Vlandians to come over the horizon, right? You're like, that was absolutely surreal. We attack. I mean, I swear I narrate these live, friends. That was unbelievable. I literally asked for that to happen, and here they are, right? And we immediately attack. We don't need any help, although it does look at these hangers on. These are like those little fish that eat. Let's see if we can ditch them here. I don't really want them in this battle, right? I guess we'll take the help. Now, I'm definitely not breaking in here, right? We attack. Let's get an idea of what he's got. Dirty dirt. Has got cavalry, footmen, lots of cavalry, but look at the quality. Light cavalry. If this was 70 banner knights, I might hesitate, but the quality of it means that they're going to get ripped apart in this battle. Go away. I want dirty dirt all to myself. And there, look at all these hangers on. Unfortunately, this is just going to be a rout now. The good news here is in a battle like this where you have help, right? All these little hangers on. They're trying to take advantage of the fact that we're fighting, and we're going to take advantage of them since they're in this battle. We're basically going to send them in to get mowed down. And we will have very few casualties in this kind of a battle. Don't know what else to use that on. We might eventually spend that on Mariner, right? After all, Hagar the Horrible. Make sure we got the right perks and shit. I think we're pretty dialed in here. You are outnumbered and ran down like a dog. This is hilarious. We started the episode by ripping up, put him in charge of the archers by ripping up Ragenvad. Now we can go over to Vlandian territory and rip up Dirt. And it is something that I wish they would continue to work on. The king of a kingdom, whether we're talking about England, France, or Bohemia, a little tiny city, would not be by himself sieging where they're just for sure captured. Even if we didn't come here, 100% of the time, Dirt is going to get captured in this instance because the Battanians would just zerg him. He's only got 200 and something troops, and they're running for the hills here. They should just run off the battlefield because that would be their best chance to survive this onslaught. There's no such thing, right? They're all captured 100% of the time here. I like to get to within about 140, 150 meters, and I start setting up our archers. Right now, we're going to give them protection. We talk about it a lot. Nice line of cavalry here. You can't see it because it's those little dark flags in a shield wall. 2 or 3 lines deep. Excuse me, 1 or 2 lines deep at this early stage. Archers behind him here. Hopefully, it's not working with me very well. And this battle's over, right? Once these archers start firing downhill. Now, something I forgot about, our ally here is just going to run in like Conan the Barbarian. They give no shits, especially because we're with them here. They probably presume that we're going to help them, but that's the last thing we're going to do here, right? I don't want those guys with us anyways. We're a mercenary, right? So we're going to make the best of this situation, and to hell with our ally, right? Also, since the Battanians are going to take the center here, they're just going to barrel in, these stupid jerks. We'll take the flank here with our cavalry. I'm bringing that cavalry division that I had over there. I don't need them over there anymore, right? We're going to protect our wing here. There's 73 Vlandian cavalry over here. This is the threat, so we're going to put cavalry out in front. Now, this is how I like to use Battanian cavalry. We're going to put them in a shield wall, and it's very temporary. We're actually going to square these guys, right? It's probably very strange for a lot of people. But the bottom line is this is like the best way to use Battanian cavalry, and that is to say to not use them at all, is to turn them into infantry. Show you what we do here. I don't think that's our guy. It could be. That's one of our dipshit ally guys. He must have gotten married last week. All right. Here's our cavalry. they're in position. Nice little shield wall here, compacted. They'll get obliterated by those Vlandian cavalry, right? They're starting to get ready to charge them. You take them off their horses. Now we're going to watch these guys in this battle, or at least we'll check them at the end. This is 17 cavalry in this little wedge. We'll put 4 horsemen behind them, and we'll watch to see how those guys do in this battle. I think they're going to do really, really well, and partly because the AI cavalry charge here, Dirt and Company, or at least that Vlandian wing, will run right into those horses and be mauled. Now, that's funny. I thought the Battanians would charge. They're actually doing about the best thing they could here under the circumstances, right? They're basically making infantry lines with archers out in front. We like that, right? That's actually good for our strategy. It augments what we're doing. Let's watch this shit. Here they come, a thunderous charge. It hits our troops, and they all get stood up like bitches, shot to pieces, charged by skirmishers, drilled with javelins. You see how badly jammed up these guys are. They really are clowned on the line here, and I bet we don't lose that square, right? That square is going to survive this battle as they stand here haplessly. And the square is just in there doing its thing. The skirmishers were told to charge, so they're presumably mauling whatever they can. The Battanians are here, right? It's good. Right there in front here, we'll just move our archers back. Now what I like to do here is protect our archers, right? Let's just cover our archers a little bit here, and any Battanian cavalry that comes to mess with our archers, you just kind of get in their way, target, distract, right? Pull his attention away from our archers. Right, you guys almost got me. The Vlandians are somewhere in there dying. And Dirt and Company gets obliterated here. Now, I would love to run him down, but I think he's already smoked. And I bet we have less than 10 casualties in our army. The other army, I'm sure, had some. Right? We had some losses here, but it's just a no-win situation here, and it won't let me click the division. So we just gotta count, and it looks like there's 13, 14 guys there. Right? We had 8 deaths in our whole army. And a couple of the caravan, looks like a couple of the scouts and caravan guys died. I guarantee you a lot more would have died if they had that cavalry charge them or they countercharged. Instead, those guys survived. They provided a great buttress for the rest of our army, and we roll right along. All right, I think I'm going to play for a little bit longer, sort of off camera. We try to make these campaigns relatively expeditious, relatively truncated highlights, so to speak. If anything fascinating happens, I'll be recording. I will either pick up narration or just continue narration. And I think the next time you see us, we're going to be looking for Ragnvad to swear allegiance to the Sturgians. It's time for Hagar the Horrible to become a mariner. It's time for us to hit the open seas here, buy a boat. We've got the formations of a nasty ship force. One of the keys to ship battles is ranged units, right? And we already have them in spades. So, another battle here, another episode of massacre and tactical blasting. And we're going to roll right along in this campaign. Let's see. We're right outside a castle, so we'll just take all these prisoners again. Even more money for our empire. Our V champions and high-end troops are stacking up right at this stage. It's starting to become a bit absurd. We've already captured kings left and right. Come with us. We've got all kinds of good equipment that I'll do off camera and save that agony for you fellas. And hopefully you guys join us for the rest of this campaign. Look at this shit already. We got this. Basically 75 elite archers in 2.5 hours of this campaign. Look at the date, spring 3. I think that's 1 year of game time, or maybe not even 1 year. All right, friends, you want to see more from this campaign or from the channel? Of course, now's your time to subscribe. All right, friends, welcome back again to another episode. You know, I'm just going to keep on narrating here because we got a good shot to make that castle defense. And it's juicy. Maybe we can capture Garrios. Wait. Is that Garrios? His Garrios. Let's capture all the kings in one episode. The Battle of the Three Kings. You know what? I think we have time. Let's see. Have they built a siege camp? No, you go through your checklist. We got to go down and around here. It is going to take us a while. So I normally don't do this. I'm going to do this for time. What are we going to do here? We're going to organize by count. And we're going to dump the shit out of these prisoners. It might take us 10 game hours to go to the city and get rid of all these prisoners. Actually, I got an idea. Let's just go to the bottom. Organize from the bottom, and we'll dump the guys I don't want to keep, which is most of these guys, right? I'm going to keep some of the elite skirmishers. And what I'm going to do now is go in, and we will ransom some of these troops, right? We might as well make some money out of this situation. 73 prisoners. We're actually good for prisoners. We could start moving right now. Let's go ahead and just dump some in here, right? We got some shit to donate. You can speed your army up considerably just by having about half the normal capacity of prisoners. You can see it towards the bottom there, minus 0.32. That's pretty significant, right? That's a significant slowdown from carrying all these prisoners along in chains behind our force. Okay, I didn't stop recording, so we can just keep rolling here. We get a bunch more influence. And we can hit a village or two on the way there. But I think what we'll do is... I don't want to be super encumbered. And the siege can start to happen fast. There's a micro garrison there. 186 is really small. I think we're going to do this. Normally I don't do this. I don't want to have deserters right now anyways. But let's carve our army a little bit here, right? I want to speed up, and those extra troops are slowing us down. I'm not sure we're going to make this siege is the reason I'm doing this, right? So I'm not going to stop there. I might stop at Lageta if it doesn't look like the siege is already occurring. It's most important that we get there. Now, by shrinking our army, we're making ourselves vulnerable to being captured here, right? There's 1106. There's definitely a chance that the garrison there with our help is not enough to beat off this Vlandian force or Western Empire force, but I think it's worth a shot here. Of course, if we're successful, we'll get all kinds of riches, right? And of course, it'll be hilarious to capture all three kings in the same episode. Now, again, timing-wise, they've just built a ram. A siege tower is going to pop up here in the next 20 seconds. At that stage, they can begin the siege. So I'm of the opinion here, instead of hitting that village, maybe that village, not that one is on fire. I think you race here, right? If we can get there before dark especially, I think there's a good chance that we get in right as the siege is starting. And buckle up. What do we have here? We got 2 catapults. Of course, the same thing might happen where, unfortunately, the enemy routs right away, but this is different, right? This is a much larger force. We have a tiny little garrison. And a lot of it's going to depend on whether or not we can destroy their siege weapons. If we can't, or not siege weapons, siege ram, siege tower. If we can't, then we've got a battle on our hands here, right? We got a real situation. And let's, I'm just going to leave it. Might need them. Might need them. Let's go ahead and do this. And I think we got this bow, right? Where's this archer dude? We should have done this last battle. This way, if we get captured, at least we don't lose that. In fact, let's, this guy. I'm drastically over our limit. Yeah, we know. All right, buckle up. This will be fun. Lageta. This is the open left side, so we have to worry about that. But initially, of course, we just got to locate catapult and destroy a siege tower. Numero uno, destroy a siege tower here. After that, of course, we'll start looking at the ram. It's a very low-level city, right? That's worrisome, of course, because it makes it harder. Off the horse. There we go. It makes it harder to... After me! I think actually it's going to be fine. I was going to say it makes it harder to order our troops, but I think it's going to be fine. Let's get archers forth for a second. Let's get the second over here. We have almost no infantry. So we're very dependent on militia here. Now we do have this wonderful little thing here, right? There are a few cities where you can do this. Look at this shit. I can put archers in a big, long firing squad line there. That's going to be handy. And I heard a fire catapult, but I don't see any yet. Okay, we got one right here. How beautiful. I'll take that, lads. Off you go. Okay, siege tower right there. Get dialed in here to take us a few shots. And I think I got dudes following me. Are you guys twerked out following me?
Warriors! Fall back!
Oh shit, we're getting smoked. Some catapults are very vulnerable, but remember what we have, right? We have our decreased taken ranged attack damage banner, right? That's going to be very handy in a battle. We're getting blasted by javelins and whatnot. Part of the reason we're getting shot is these dipshits next to me. I got to figure this out here. So it's the 4th. Let's just put our infantry all together and get these guys out of my fucking face, right? They're swarming me here. I just barely missed. Oh no, we did hit it. Get off. Now one more hit, I think. It's close. It's close to being down. Oh shit, we just got smoked. Probably a javelin right there, right? That's not good. And this is a problem. I don't know if I can hit it from here, right? There's shit in the way. I can see Gyarios right there. See that helmet? Alright, I gotta focus on this shot here. This is a big shot. Was that a good shot or what? Hell yeah. Now, I swear half the people watching the channel want to see us lose. You got an opportunity here for sure. If they start breaking through over there, we're fucked, right? There's not much that's going to hold the enemy back there. Now, that was a shot. Not only did I hammer the troops, but I drilled the catapult, and the good things should be repeatable. I don't like standing here. The javelins are flying up here. It's messy. There it goes. Oh, baby. Yeah, these fucks are looking right at me, throwing javelins. And you know what happens if my character goes down here? Campaign fucking over. So, take one shot here real quick and run for cover. There's fire catapults above us, I think, or next to us. Shit, it's gonna have to be this one right here. Yeah, massive EXP regardless here. Oh shit, man. That is a new effect. Oh shit, man, that's about the worst thing I could have possibly done. My screen is shaking. You guys can see it too, right? It's shaking on your end. This is a new feature, and this is essentially like added, what do they call that shit? Immersion or whatever, right? Our screen's blowing up here. Gotta get inside the gatehouse next. I'm stuck. Got rocks here. Lots of little bootlickers coming. Have some of that. Some more of those. Now here you want to kill as many of these guys as you possibly can. As soon as you can. Because if they start barreling through the gate here, we got real problems, right? Now fortunately, there does look like there's a little allied force here at the gate. But this is the area of massive vulnerability. The enemy pours troops into the courtyard here. You're cooked. That's all there is to it. It's just battle over. And I didn't even see this, but I am absolutely surrounded. And we're fucked. Because it's going to auto-resolve after my character falls in slow motion. And we end this with a loss. Almost captured all three. Now, you know, this is the worst possible behavior for our archers. I don't know where you fellas are going, but it's the wrong ways. If we were able to command, maybe. I don't know where those troops got in there. My presumption is they came up on the other side over here, right? They came up on the ladders, blew the garrison out, and then stormed through the city. So we almost complete the trifecta here. I think if we had control of our troops, maybe, because we get those archers set up a nice square. But it was obviously pushing it from the outset. And then, of course, your character goes down. No RTS mod. And, of course, the console guys are like, see, Bannerlord's hard. I agree. Right? If you don't have the RTS mod, a siege like this is much harder. We knew from the outset, right? I was saying at the beginning, we're definitely asking for it in a siege like that. And it's okay, right? One of the things that's different now, when you get captured, you get to retain a strange amount of equipment here, right? Leave it to others. All right. You make me hit more buttons just to see defend. We get an auto-resolve here. It's going to be a little bit of a mess to repair the damage done by that, but it won't be too long, right? In fact, we get... Did we just get peace? Is that what happened? Looks like it. We got peace. So they couldn't have given us peace, 2 minutes earlier, right? We're going to rebuild. We'll be back in this campaign. It'll probably take us a couple weeks. And let's see here. Let's see. Not make a liar out of me. Look at all this equipment, right? This shit for sure would be gone before in 1.3, and I think they did this because Bannerlord is hard sometimes, right? They don't need players rage quitting because they get captured in a tough situation like that and they lose everything. Now it's kind of swung the other way. You get so much shit, after you're captured. I guess Gyarios is like, oh, he's got all this equipment? Yeah, you can keep it. It's fine. Let him keep it. That doesn't make much sense. But anyways, I'll stop bitching. I'll get off my high horse, and we will wrap this episode up. Almost the trifecta. I appreciate you watching our little mini-series focused on 1.4 Bannerlord. The real action starts next episode. I might have an intermission episode or one episode in between, but we're going to acquire a boat. I'll probably show you some of that process, some of my thought process. I'm not an expert on the seas, so maybe you watch me get captured over and over again. In any case, this campaign continues. We're going to, Hagar the Horrible is going to be raiding some caravans and sacking some enemy lords on the water in future episodes. Of course, if you want to see more from this series, now's your time to subscribe. Please hit that like button on the way out, friends, and I will see you next time. Everybody's regrouping. We need a little break here. Let's see. Let's run up and start recruiting archers. What's here anyways? There's nothing here.